lying about me, and you will not defame my character in that manner.
Did Joe Biden win the election, Congresswoman Green?
Joe Biden is the president of the United States.
Absolutely,
Marcus.
but you pushed a big lie that said he did not win the election.
There was election fraud.
You drove those people to the Capitol on January 6th with your lie.
We're
going to move on. Josh Rowe, it's your turn to ask a question to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We have FOIA evidence of proof of election fraud that came out.
Excuse me, we're ready to move on to the next question for you.
He's not going to accuse me of a crime.
Would you like your question? Would you like your question?
Yes, ma'am, I would. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Liar, by the way.
By the way, in case you didn't know, you're a liar. Marjorie Taylor Greene in her debate on Saturday night, it got, of course, feisty and upset as she was asked specifically, did Joe Biden win the election? Did Joe Biden win the election? Oh yeah, he's the president. We know the same answer that comes with that. But there was definitely not much talk about what she's gonna do for the country. We're gonna get to some of that, what her priorities are as far as her constituent go, and everything else that she's decided to work on as she's been in Congress. There was a whole bunch of pushback and blaming and back and forth. But the good thing I like about this one first moment was make them answer the question for the things that they've been pushing to their followers. They can no longer rely on Q to answer those questions, which is always ask Q. So since that's not on the table anymore, she has to come up with the answer, which is, we've got freedom of information papers. My husband's holding them. I don't like that you're lying about me. I love the smile on his face as he's like, you see this idiot talking over here? They're still pushing back on the validity of the election, and they don't realize that people don't want to hear that anymore. Probably never did want to, except for them. There's more from this debate though. She was asked, I was talking about the constituents there. How is she gonna improve the life of constituents that she's looking to continue to represent? Think about that question and watch this.
Your question for Marjorie Taylor Greene.
All right, Ms. Greene, since taking office on January 3rd, 2021, what is the one specific accomplishment solely on behalf of the 14th Congressional District that is most important to you?
Well, I tell you what, it's been hard to pass any bills in a Democrat-controlled, Nancy Pelosi-controlled House of Representatives, a Senate that is controlled by one vote with Kamala Harris as the Democrat vice president, and a White House that is controlled by Democrats, Joe Biden. Now, what we've done to accomplish things for Northwest Georgia is I'm proud to be able to bring in money via grants to help our local sheriff's department and help local businesses there. We've also worked very hard with the flooding that happened over in Somerville. And so we've worked hand in hand with officials there and look forward to helping them more as damages and amounts of money come out. So I'm very excited to vote and to introduce bills that uphold the conservative traditional values of the people in my district, and I'll continue to do that.
All right, Josh, you get the final question. Did you have a rebuttal?
Yeah, I didn't hear an answer there. Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Greene said she's passed all these bills and brought money into our district. Well, you haven't. You know,
no, I voted no to Joe Biden's radical Democrat bills, Marcus.
There's the recap. A quick pushback allows her to sift through all of the prepared BS that she was supposed to talk about to make people go, oh, she's done so many things, and they don't really hear what she hasn't done. That's her answer at the end. I voted against Joe Biden. That is the answer. That's the whole point. That's why she started with the Democrat-controlled Pelosi, Biden, Pelosi. Like, bro, your opponent is next to you. You're talking about representing your constituents, not throwing out the boogeyman names and hoping that people go, oh yeah, she said she hates Pelosi, I'm voting for her. Sadly, it'll work to a certain degree, Jess. There's more to this. I just want your first couple thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, what she's talking about, oh, we got grants for small businesses and we got money to help resolve some of the flooding. Where did that money come from? It came from the Inflation Reduction Act that she is now calling the radical Democrats bill from Joe Biden that she voted against. And then she is claiming the achievements, the money that she got for her state as a result of that bill. It was appropriated to her state thanks to that bill. And she's like, yeah, that's what I've done. And then she directly says a few seconds later that she voted against it. Come on.
It just doesn't have to make any kind of sense. Now, what I've noticed, I know a lot of people were talking about the Herschel Walker back and forth and how he got put back into the rules, pulling out his prop badge. I feel like these panelists, these debate moderators aren't really playing anymore with the nonsense. Like, we can't keep digging deeper and deeper into the sandpit with these children, so they're straightening them out. Let's go to Sot for you guys, because this was another moment when she didn't like the way the question was asked, I suppose, or at least the way that she's been called out, because she likes to post a lot of things online, and she was asked whether or not she really knows what she's talking about. Let's watch.
And we need to, can you give me an example?
No, you do this every time we have a debate where I ask a question that's obvious and you're like, what you mean? You were kicked off of your committees for saying things were controversial. You've apologized for controversial statements, right? Those types of things. What is your process for fact checking and vetting the things that you say in public?
The things I say in public are the truth, and that's why they're so offensive to Democrat activists in the media just like you. And you're asking me a blanket question with no example. I stand by the things that I say. I stand by.
Maybe you should have given her a few examples, because there's plenty to go around. But so it's you guys don't like my truth. Where is the reality of this entire situation? It's just like a mud throwing event. And as long as you support her and her mud throwing, then you're gonna believe everything that she says. Which again, once the question's asked, what's your basis for the things you say? Nothing but anger, nothing but accusations, Jeff.
Yeah, I really wish there were some examples there, or that they had the questions in advance so her opponent could have come with some examples to list out in that situation. So we had some kind of accountability. At least the moderator kind of clapped back at her and was like, you always do this. You always avoid the question. But for her to just simply say, I speak the truth and I stand by what I've said, when he just pointed out you've been kicked off of committees and you've had to apologize for things that you've said. She clearly knows what he's talking about. And some examples there would have been helpful, because I'm sure some of her supporters were watching this and they were like, yeah, she speaks the truth. She's not going to apologize for what she says. And some examples would have been very helpful.
Did you vet Nick Fuentes before you went to his white supremacist event? Since we're talking about vetting information, do you still support the things that he did and said? Because you'd like to run away from that whole controversy when it happened. There's tons. Just saying that we can start with that one. But the sad part is, I was just talking to someone else about this, and they said the sad thing is she's probably still going to get probably elected because of the way the constituents that are in her district just, I don't know what the basis is for voting. I'm always holding out hope, but we've seen the way these things work out. It's not always based on what they're going to do.
It's like, what's your process for fact checking what you say? That was a really long way of her saying I don't. She's just like, whatever I say is true. Take my word for it.
2 simple words, I don't.